Well, it's been a very productive morning so far. In fact, it's been a really productive morning. Now, I've got to show you this, first of all, because this is really good. Now, if I leave you there for a couple of seconds, and I do this, you should hopefully be able to see that finally the hazard lights are working. And just to prove a point, that one's working there at the front. That one's working there at the front. That side repeater's working. And if we look down the side here, you can see that one's working. If we'll quickly nip around the back of the car, you'll see, well, if you can, for the sun. If I get a bit lower down, there you go. You can see that the two back ones are working as well. Absolutely fantastic news, that. Now, as I said at the end of the last video on the Mustang and the damned hazard lights that weren't working, that couldn't get to work, and I'd pretty much exhausted my knowledge of electrics. I did say I was going to have to talk to somebody who knew more than I did, or at least knew what they were doing around electrics. So I got in touch with a couple of friends. They both came around this morning to give us a hand, nice and early this morning, give us a hand with that. I was expecting it was going to be maybe half a day, a few hours. Go through all the wiring loom, dismantle the wiring loom, find the broken wire if there was one, find the dirty earth if there was one I hadn't seen, check all the fuses, etc. I had no idea what was going to happen. But then on the night after I filmed the last video, so I was sitting in the house and I got the notes, the messages from my mates saying they were coming round the next day, or coming round this morning. I got to thinking, what else could it be? Because it had to be something really stupid. I mean, the indicator was working, and the hazard lights were working. They just weren't working properly. And then I thought, what if it's the flasher unit? Could it be the flasher unit? I mean, the flasher unit that you need is it's an EP, that's Echo Papa 27, so an EP27 LED 12 volt flasher unit. And there was one in the car, so it had the right flasher unit in there, but what if it was that? What if that was the problem? So I did the right thing. I went onto the Rainforest website, found a couple, and I ordered them. I bought two because I was thinking, well, if they both work, I've got a spare. If one doesn't work when it gets here, because typically they'll be coming from China, they'll be made in China. So if one work doesn't get here, surely the other one will. So I ordered two of those. They both turned up this morning. My mates turned up this morning. So I went in the house, got the flasher unit, one of the flasher units out, and I said, look, I've ordered these. Don't know if this is going to be part of the problem or not, but it's worth a try. So one of my mates opened it out of the box, took it out. This is the original one from the car. Plugged it in, and then we reconnected the battery, put the hazard light switch on, and everything started working. So it looks as though the fault was with this, the LED flasher unit. Wow, as you can see on the bottom of it, it's not burnt at all. It's all in really good condition. No scuff marks anywhere on it. So it looks as though it's just failed internally. So that took less than 5 minutes to sort out, and that was the problem fixed. And then, as they were here, my mate said, well, is there anything else you need a hand with while we're here? Because, less than 5 minute job and it's fixed. Is there anything else you need a hand with? And I said, you know what? There is. Give us a hand with this. So you may have already noticed a little hint earlier in the video due to the positioning where the Mustang is. You may already have noticed, but if you haven't, there's kind of a space on the drive. Now, something has to be missing, doesn't it? If you haven't already guessed, the charger's not here any longer. We just have space. Ranchero's still here. Obviously, the Mustang's moved a lot further up the drive. My Cortina's still here. Still got that. That's next on the list. The other Mustang, Hilux, is over here. The Mondeo's over there, marooned over there. And you can actually get full space around the driveway now. I know it all needs cleaning up, but the charger has disappeared. So if we just head through here into the garage, or into the back garden where the garage is, let me show you this. If I pull the door open, that's where the charger went. So we did actually manage to get it moved in here. We didn't fire it up, but it's in, and it fits really well. There's actually enough space in here that you can come in and you can walk all the way around the charger. You've got to walk sideways, but you can actually walk all the way around it, which is absolutely amazing. So we're in here, it's safe, it's dry, it's relatively warm in here. It'll be a lot warmer once there's a heater in. So now the charger's in the garage, I need to make sensible use of the space in the drive, try and get all the cars in. And what I'm thinking, looking at it, because obviously the Mustang and the Mondeo, they're shorter than the Charger ever was, or the Charger ever would be. So what I'm thinking of doing is this. If I tidy up in this corner, and I get rid of all of this, and those that are still there, if I take those out, get rid of all this, clean all that up, get rid of them, that's going to give me that much more space over there. Don't panic, this isn't going to turn into a gardening channel. That was never going to happen. I'm certainly not a gardener. But what I was thinking of doing, if I can get rid of that lot over there and make that little bit more space, it'll look something like this. Now I think that Mustang over there will be able to come up here on an angle and get the nose of the Mustang just about level with that wall between the Ranchero and the wall of the garage. I think that Mustang will come all the way up here, turn on an angle and fit in there, which then means that my Mondeo will be able to go pretty much where my Mustang is. So the Mondeo will sit there, and then if we look down the side, that'll leave enough space behind the Cortina for this Mustang to be parked up, and that means I'll be able to fire the Hilux up, shift the Hilux over a little bit, and I'll be able to get rid of all that rubbish over there, commonly known as a hedge. And that means I can start working on all the cars one at a time, or even all together, and get those done and see if I can get them all fired up, get them all fixed, and get them all running and driving so I can actually enjoy them. Plus the fact, if the weather changes and it starts hammering down with rain, or it's icy cold, or it's pitch black, it makes no difference on work that I won't be able to do on the cars, because I can go in there and I can work on the charger. I do have a heater I can use in there. I still need some lights. I haven't got any lights in there as yet, but I do have space in there to work on the charger. So I can work on the charger when the weather's bad, or when it's late at night. I can work on the rest of the cars all at the same time, when the weather's right, when it's dry and everything. Oh, it's going to be fantastic. Really feel like the channel's taken steps forward now. Absolutely amazing. Everything's going to get worked on, everything's going to get fired up, and everything's going to get moved. Now hopefully you can see me. It is a little bit dark in here, there's a little bit of light, so hopefully you can see it's okay. But getting the charger in here that you're currently sitting on wasn't without its issues. We tried all sorts. Now I didn't film it because with having friends around, and I wasn't sure if friends were going to be wanting to be on camera or something like that. Plus the fact that I was imagining there was going to be three of us in that tiny little space at the front of the Mustang trying to work out what the wiring issue was. So there wouldn't have been room to put a camera, never mind 6 pairs of hands or 3 pairs of hands or whatever, try and get everything sorted out. But after we'd done that, it kind of went out the window because everybody was overjoyed that it was so quick. It was a nice, easy fix. And then we decided to try and move the charger in here. I stuck a battery on, but the charger wasn't having any of it. The battery was a bit low powered. Tried a couple of other batteries. We tried jump starting it. Didn't want to know it was running over really slowly. We discovered a couple of things that I can go through in another video when we get into working on the charger in here. But for one reason or another, the charger wasn't having it. Didn't want to start earlier on this morning. So what we did was we backed it out a little bit so I could get the garage door open. We opened the garage door, which in itself gave a whole bunch of problems. I'll tell you that in a second. Opened the garage door, pushed the charger in, and it's here, it's in, it's safe, and the garage door's shut. Now the good news is, after I had to straighten that hinge up there, you can see, that's just along there where my finger is. So that's the runner, the track if you like, for one side of the garage door. This was the one that had come off altogether. And obviously I put that one back on, thinking I'd put it on in the right position, which pretty much I have got it in the right position, and it works perfectly. The problem was, when we came to open the door, absolutely hilarious and schoolboy error. Now you might be able to see, there's a bit of a cutout here on this joist. Now, when this joist went in, I didn't realise that it was slightly lower than the previous joist was that was in there. I think the previous joist must have come up to about there. So it wasn't an issue previously, but when I replaced this and put this one in, as we went to open the garage door, this bit here came back and got stuck on there. So I had to trim that out roughly in order to get the garage door to open and sort of force it through there. So I am going to adjust that, and I'm going to go back up about an inch, and I'm going to take about an inch out there, which should be fine, and that'll allow the garage door to open properly and freely without having to do anything. Now of course, in an ideal world, I'd like to have that door behind you replaced with a roller shutter door. So I don't think that's going to happen for a while. I need to save up some pennies to get that, unless of course, as you're watching this, you are the owner or the manager of a roller shutter door company, and you would fancy working with my small channel in my little corner of the internet, building the community that I'm currently building. This is absolutely fantastic. Speaking of community, over the last few days or so, I've had an influx of little over 300 subscribers. Now I think that was mainly the video that I did on the tax exemption possibly coming to an end. that's brought them all in, but it has brought, the other video of the Mustang has brought a few more in as well. So an extra 300, well, just over 300 subscribers. Absolutely fantastic. Love to have you here. There's round about 460, 461, something like that, videos in the back catalogue on the channel. Have a flick through them. Hope you enjoy them all. There's all manner of stuff going on. There's all the work I've done on the Charger. There's the work I've done on the other Mustang, the 96 Mustang. Some work I've done on mine, as you've probably already seen. A little bit of work I've started doing on the Hilux, and obviously work on the Ranchero, and a whole bunch of stuff that I've done on the Mondeo as well. They're absolutely fantastic. We're really getting closer now. We're moving on. I think the channel's starting to get some traction. Hopefully that'll continue to work, and we'll get everything sorted out. It's not going to be too long before I start working on this Charger. And the first thing I want to do on the Charger is sort this out. Now, this is all damage to my vinyl roof. This was a bit of gaffer tape I put on, which was supposedly waterproof. Obviously, it's not that waterproof, but that was all on there to stop the roof deteriorating and getting any worse, and stop the condensation or the water getting in when it was raining. Now, it's all like this because, there's a playlist on the channel for the garage itself, because a few years ago, the entire roof up the back up there blew off in one of the storms we had, and one of the things it did was clip the roof of this and slice all that vinyl open. Absolutely gutted about that. I really am, because this is the original vinyl roof on the car from 1968, and look at how gorgeous it is. There's no damage to it anywhere at all. It's absolutely wonderful. Love this originality. However, that's all gone pear-shaped, and that's been blown out of the water. So I need to get this off, see what damage, if any, there is underneath it, and then work out where I'm going to go from there. But that'll be in another video. Well, now that everything else is pretty much sorted, I do have still the welding to do, the back of the Mustang. So the next video you see on the Mustang will be the back bumper coming off, and seeing what we find out what's in there and going on in there behind that. Also, a little bit of a puzzle that I may need your hand with, or I may need help, some help from you with. However, I can show you that once I get the bumper off, because I need to take the bumper off to actually show you what the puzzle is that I'm stuck with. But I'll show you that in the next video on the Mustang as well. In the meantime, though, I'm about to go outside and start attacking those bushes, weeds, whatever the hell they are, stuff in the garden that obviously doesn't belong there. Not in this particular garden, it's belong anyway. I'm not going to put you through watching me dismantle those or fight with those. I'll get cut to shreds if there's any thorns on them. Obviously, I'll just do that off camera in a couple of minutes when I finish getting this video made and get the editing done. But what I do want to say before I close the video, I do want to say a huge thank you to Graham, Andrew and Mick. If it hadn't been for you three coming around, obviously the Charger wouldn't have been in here. I may have found out when I changed the flasher unit on the Mustang, and that was all the problem was. I've still got the steering column to put back together, but obviously you've already seen me take it apart and put it back together again as well, so I'm not going to film that because you saw it the last time. But I do want to say, as I said, a huge thank you to everybody for coming around and giving me a hand on the day. Very much appreciated, especially getting this in here and Mick cutting the top of the joist or trimming the joist so I could get the door open. Absolutely amazing. Thank you to all of you. As far as the Mustang and the wiring for the hazard lights was concerned, though, don't forget, anytime you get any problems with cars, check the easy stuff first. Check the earths, check the fuses, check the flasher units or the relays if there are any involved in it, and then get into the wiring. I mean, it's not too bad in this case, because obviously when I took all the steering column apart, I did find that broken wire, and that is still connected. I've no idea whether that has anything to do with it or not, but at least it's connected properly and it's sealed now. So I don't feel too bad about going through all the aggravation of pulling the steering column apart, only for it to be exactly the same position as being exactly the same position I was in before I took it apart, after I replaced all the parts that I had to replace. At least that wire's connected. It's no longer causing any issues, or not going to cause any issues, and all the lights work. So it's literally just bumper off, have a look at the welding, then take the car back for its MOT. If you've enjoyed this one, you're getting some kind of value or entertainment out of it, press the like button on the way out. And if you'd like to see more stuff like this, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.